Should MS Dhoni have said bye to the game? Should Dhoni have never stepped back onto a cricket field after he announced his retirement after the 2019 ODI World Cup? These are tough questions to ask of a great legend of the game, one of the most successful captains of Indian cricket. And for me in particular, I've been a big fan of his, tracked his career ever since he came onto the cricket field with his long hair. Why have things reached such a pass? Let's begin with the way Chennai Super Kings has played in the IPL 2020 under his captaincy this time. They have lost 6 of their 9 matches played so far. 6 of the 9 matches they have lost. One of the biggest disappointments has been skipper Dhoni's batting, and he has just scored 136 runs in 8 innings. 136 runs in 8 innings at a strike rate of 132.03, and going by how a lower middle order batsman should be playing, these are poor numbers. And let me connect the dots by talking about another legend of the game, a cricketer, a batsman I've hugely admired, and that is the great Javed Miandad. So Javed has spoken about Dhoni recently, and a lot of what he says makes sense. So he's spoken about the fact that Dhoni has nothing to prove to anybody. He is a legend of the game. His stats, his numbers, everything, they speak for themselves. So it is not as if Dhoni has some axe to grind somewhere that, okay, this question has been left unanswered, so he needs to step back. Nothing of the sort. So what is lacking in Dhoni's game so far in this IPL? So according to Javed Miandad, he is not match fit. So how do you define match fitness? So this is what he says about Dhoni. I've seen Dhoni's batting in this IPL. To me, the problem areas are his timing and reflexes. There is nothing wrong about his technical game, but his timing and reflexes have gotten slower, and Dhoni needs to assess himself. Self-assessment is what you do constantly as long as you are playing the game. So that's one of the first points Javed Miandad makes. He's obviously coming back to the IPL after a long playoff. He hasn't played any competitive cricket for over a year. He is physically fit. Undoubtedly, he's very physically fit. He's still a very good runner, probably one of the fastest runners still between the wickets, like between him, Virat and Ravindra Jadeja. If we were to talk about the fastest runners, his name would still be up there. No problem there at all. And Miandad again says that physically Dhoni is still very fit. Nobody is unfit when he's playing at this level. I'm talking about his match fitness. Talking about specifically about the way he was getting out, Miandad felt his body positions were not right for certain shots. This is one of the reasons why he's struggling with timing. Technically, he is absolutely there. There is absolutely no problem. Javed makes an interesting point about his last major tournament, which was the 1996 World Cup, which he played for Pakistan. He said he himself realized that he was no longer a young man. So what would he do to contribute to his side? So he said, I went more for placements and for keeping the tempo running and to prove myself useful to the team. He said, I used my cricketing brain more and more as I became experienced and older. So these are interesting points which are applicable to any senior player, not just Dhoni. So Javed Miandad makes another point that he says that as a good batsman, you need to have the range to place the ball perfectly. He praises Gavaskar, Gundappa Vishwanath, Sachin Tendulkar and Virat Kohli. And he says all 4 had and have the ability to keep placing the ball so that the strike rate doesn't slow down. Of course, the fact remains that for everyone, and most of us sports persons, your physical ability declines with age. That is something you've got to accept. So Javed says from a batsman's perspective, and I find this very interesting, Test cricket is still easier for an older player. You need the stamina to stay at the crease for 40 overs in limited overs without the pressure of scoring runs. But the hurly-burly of limited over cricket makes things more difficult. He also says, I played cricket with my brain. If you use your brain, you can play irrespective of your age. And he recommends to Dhoni that if he is doing about 20 sit-ups a day, he should try and double that. If he's jogging 5 laps, then he can try and double that. Of course, not do it all in one go, but during the day. But that is for Dhoni and his the team management to look at, to examine as to what he can do. But one point is very, very clear. This is not the same old Dhoni of before. If you quickly look at the ICC World Cup 2019 performances of Dhoni, this is how it goes. India versus South Africa, 34 of 46. India versus Australia, 27 of 14. Against Pakistan, 1 run of 2. Against Afghanistan, 28 of 52 balls. Against West Indies, 56 of 61 balls. Against England, it was 42 of 31. Against Bangladesh, 35 of 33. And against New Zealand, 50 of 72 balls, which was a bit of a slow innings. So in reaction to what is happening at the IPL currently and the way CSK is performing, which is quite poorly, they are also, I don't want to use the word saddle, but they are playing players who are in their late 30s. Quite a few of them are, and the tag has stuck to them now that this is an old dad's army. Did the team management miss a trick or two by not playing and picking younger players? So that's for them to figure out. Coach Stephen Fleming even had a joke about it. But Michael Vaughan says that as the CSK struggles continue, it is pretty much clear that the IPL Giants' glory days might be coming to an end. They are the most consistent team in the history of the competition. In the 10 seasons they have played so far, they have made it to the playoffs in all of them, while making it to the final on 8 occasions. So Michael Vaughan, former England captain, feels that this is the end of CSK for the time being. Coming to another trigger, where CSK played DC, Delhi Capitals, they had to defend 17 runs off the last over, but Akshar Patel hit Ravindra Jadeja for 3 consecutive sixes, finished the match. A lot of criticism has come into play because at that point in time, from DC's side, there were 2 left-handed batsmen, and Dhoni had the option of playing a wrist spinner called Karan Sharma, but he chose to go in for Ravindra Jadeja. Ace sprinter Johan Blake, his comment also went viral when he says that the CSK skipper made the worst decision in a long while. He should never have bowled Jadeja. I think Dhoni made the worst decision in a long while. Dhoni, that's a poor decision to bowl Jadeja at the last part. What happened to Bravo? He realized his mistake later that Bravo was injured, but then he still said that I would have still gone with Shane Watson, not with Jadeja. Sanjay Manjrekar also came into play, and he says, with 2 left-handed batsmen at the crease, for me it was a simple choice, Karan Sharma over Jadeja. Why? Because a wrist spinner can get the ball, which is the googly, to leave the left-hander, and that would have given greater purchase. Of course, the trolls got after Manjrekar again and saying that he was too scared to take Dhoni's name to criticize him. He used the word CSK, but Manjrekar came back, and rightly so, saying that when he's talking about the team, then obviously who's the team captain? It is Dhoni. And it's not a question of criticizing someone by name or not. As a former cricketer and an experienced commentator, he did have the right to make a point. But that point was made by quite a few other people. So how do we analyze Dhoni now? I feel Dhoni should not have played the IPL under these circumstances. He is clearly not match fit. He hasn't played competitive cricket for over a year. If he did want to come into play, then maybe could he have played somewhere else in between rather than waiting on the outside for almost a year. Then of course the pandemic came in, so the game got shut down. So here suddenly he finds himself ill at ease at the crease, and certain decisions he's making which are not going in his favor. I just feel it diminishes a legend of his stature. He has a lot riding on his name. He's done a lot. So what made him come back? Was it the money? I don't know. When it comes to money, he is one of the richest cricketers, not only in India but in the world. So is that a motivating force? Maybe Dhoni can answer that for himself. What made him play? Again, I don't know. Is it the love of the game? If it is the love of the game, you should be better prepared. He has nothing left to prove, as Javed Miandad said. He has done enough. He has some big titles to his credit. He's done a lot for Indian cricket. So that again is out of the equation. So at age 39, should a legend like Dhoni be saying goodbye to the game? I think so.